Hello, this is going to be another of my sky watching project videos. I think I'm up to like 12. And I think at this point I'm going to have to step back and rework my application to fix a few things that have kind of come up over the last few weeks as I was making some videos. And there is one thing that I would really like to do, which would be to add a mode to let me do some kind of astrometric plate solving. This came about when I was trying to line up the videos from Wade's Underworld, and I was getting it pretty close, but I kept having to tweak the altitude, the azimuth, the zoom, the rotate to get it as close to reasonably aligned as possible. But one of the big things that I would like to do was already shown in the October 2019 time lapse. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here and I'm going to insert a clip of what I'm about to try to accomplish right about here. And just in case you missed it, I'll play it again a little bit slower. And I would like you to pay extra attention between the stars and where it thinks that the stars are supposed to be. If you like this kind of little puzzle, I would suggest you go back and watch my October 2019 time lapse in its entirety and really pay attention to the computed star position versus the star position taken. Now I'm going to ruin the surprise by giving my analysis of what's going on. So I'll just back up a little bit. I'm going to turn off the draw stars feature. So pay attention, there's one star here, one here, one here. So this one is Aldebaran. This one is Betelgeuse. And Procyon is over here, but it thinks that it's over here. So I'll just scrub it ahead a little bit like that. And we'll look at where they are again. There's where it thinks it is. This is where it really is. Betelgeuse is pretty much aligned, and Aldebaran is pretty much aligned. And we'll go ahead a little bit more. Betelgeuse is still lined up. Aldebaran is now kind of threatening to be unaligned. Procyon seems to be a little bit closer, and there's one down here that seems to be well off into the weeds. So let's go ahead a little bit more. Aldebaran doesn't seem to be too far off. Betelgeuse still seems to be relatively aligned. Procyon seems to be a little bit closer, and now we've got what's probably this one getting a little bit closer. And I'll just go ahead a little bit more. And now Procyon seems to be aligned. Betelgeuse seems to be still aligned. Aldebaran seems to be a little bit off. And this one still seems to be off in the distance. What I would notice was the sun, the moon, or the star would appear on this side and it would start to travel. Then the computer would think that it was just appearing on the edge of the image. The two would go in lockstep until it reached a certain point, and then it would appear as if the computed position caught up to the image taken from the camera, and the two would continue together in unison until it got to a certain point over on the other side, which would do something similar. You can see that Betelgeuse is starting to get ahead, and the image taken by the camera seems to linger a little bit. And I think what's happening is that the cameras that I got were specifically intended to be security cameras. And I don't know exactly where they have done this. I don't know if it's something they've done to the lenses themselves or if it's the CCD sensor in the camera itself. That seems to be non-linear, but it seems that they've got an edge here that gives them a little bit of an extra view off the side. And this is an optical characteristic of this camera that I've not seen anywhere else. And it certainly does not appear to be your typical pin cushion if it is a pin cushion. There's a couple of things that I really want to do to this application. The first is I'd like to rework this settings panel and break up the different controls into different areas so that it's a lot harder to get myself confused, because even just making this video, I accidentally tried to scroll back to a different day rather than scroll back to a specific time. And I'll often accidentally try to rotate the camera instead of use the dynamic time. So this whole panel is ripe for using the wrong control. So I'm going to rework that. I also want to add a mode that will let me profile the star's position in the camera and be able to apply a corrective formula to the image so that I can restore a linear sweep across the sky. And along with that, I also want to add some star observation markers to help me align the camera without having to constantly scroll back and forth to see if everything is really lining up properly. I think based on my schedule in the coming weeks, the only videos I might be able to put out are going to be a continuation of my time-lapse videos. I've already done October and November. At this point, December, January, and February are so heavily overcast that I'll just trim it right down to the periods where there is no cloud cover or very little cloud cover. So those videos should be a lot shorter than the two that I put out already. When I am ready to come back, I'll show off some of the features that I've added and tweaked and fixed up. There's a lot of work that I've yet to do just with the graticules alone. So I do believe that this is going to keep me busy for a while. That's all I wanted to share for the moment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again as soon as I can clean this all up and get back on track. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.